Hey everyone, have you ever wondered who gets to write history? And maybe even more important, who gets to save it? Today, we're digging into the incredible power of communities taking control of their own stories, building what you might call an archive of the people, by the people. This is going to be good. So here's our roadmap. We'll kick things off by asking, whose history actually gets preserved in the first place. Then we'll get into a really cool grassroots solution, archives built by and for communities. We'll look at the main tool they use to capture stories that were never written down, check out some powerful real-world examples, and wrap up by looking at what the future holds for this amazing work.
All right, let's jump right in with the big problem here. The official record, well, it's pretty much always missing something.
I mean, really think about it. When you look at official archives, government papers, big institutional records, whose voices are you hearing? More often than not, it's the story of the powerful, the formal, the established institutions. The day-to-day experiences of regular people, especially from marginalized groups, often just disappear. And that leaves these huge gaping holes in our history.
This quote right here gets at a really powerful idea, the House of Memory. It comes from research on the U.S. Virgin Islands, where the people lost control of their own government records to outside rulers. See, when a community doesn't own its own memory, its stories, its documents, its whole identity is at risk. It's kind of like losing the blueprints to your own house. You're left trying to rebuild from scratch.
So, what if communities could build their own house of memory and protect it? That brings us right to a powerful grassroots solution. And here it is, community archives. The most important thing to get here is who's in charge. These collections are made and kept alive by community members themselves, a lot of the time without any help from traditional museums or libraries. They are literally built from the ground up to save what the community itself decides is important. This comparison just lays it out perfectly. Traditional archives are top-down. They're controlled by big institutions, and they tend to focus on the official story. Community archives? They completely flip that script. They're bottom-up, controlled by the community, and they put the spotlight on real, lived experiences. It's nothing less than an act of reclaiming the right to tell your own story in your own words. So how do you save a history that was never even written down? Let's talk about the main way these archives capture those missing voices. The secret sauce is something called oral history. The whole point is to capture personal memories to fill in the blanks on subjects that you just won't find in any written records. It's basically a conversation, an interview that creates a spoken account of the past, told from someone's unique perspective today. It literally gives a voice to the voiceless. And you know what? It's way more accessible than you might think. The process is pretty straightforward. You figure out what you want to talk about, you record the conversation, you get permission to use it ethically, that's super important, and then you save it and share it. These simple steps mean pretty much anyone can help save a piece of history.
Now, this isn't just some abstract idea. Community archives and oral history have a massive impact out in the real world. Let's look at two incredible examples.
First, think about the Documenting Ferguson project. Back in 2014, it was created to save stories and materials straight from the community during the protests, making sure their side of the story wasn't lost. Then, halfway across the world, the Bosnian Memories Project collected 100 life stories on video, capturing these deeply personal experiences from a society struggling to recover from a brutal war. Okay, so in Bosnia, researchers did the usual thing. They ran big surveys to figure out what people needed for justice and reconciliation. And that data gave them a big picture view. It showed that, pretty much everyone agreed on the need for accountability and truth. And this is so crucial, the oral histories told a much, much deeper story. They went way beyond what the numbers could show to reveal what justice actually felt like on a personal level. They uncovered these incredibly nuanced, human meanings of what it takes to feel seen and acknowledged, stuff a survey could never, ever capture. And this quote from Faruk Sahovic, a veteran who was interviewed, wow, it just gets right to the very heart of it. For him, and for so many others, the simple act of telling your own truth and having it actually heard and saved is a form of justice all by itself. It's about recognizing each other's humanity and being honest about the past. So this work is just undeniably vital. But what does the future look like? Let's get into the final part of our story, the real-world hurdles these archives face and the very hopeful path forward. Look, the reality is running a community archive is not easy. As you can see, the challenges are very real. There's the constant struggle to find stable funding, the huge technical puzzle of how to preserve digital files for the long haul, and just a general lack of trained staff. And on top of all that, you can get tension with mainstream museums and libraries over who really gets to control these histories. So what's the solution? Well, one of the most powerful ideas out there is the citizen archivist. This whole concept is about equipping community members themselves with the skills they need to do the work. By training people in how to preserve materials and do it ethically, you give that autonomy right back to the community. You are literally putting the power to save their own history back into their own hands. And that really brings us right back home. Every single community, every family, every neighborhood has a history that's worth saving. So I want to leave you with this question to think about. If you were going to create an archive for your community, what story would you make absolutely sure got told?